Welcome to part 2 of my Alien Romulus reviews. Today we're looking at the much anticipated Scorched Xenomorph. We'll begin an up close and personal look at this figure's detail as I shed my thoughts on this action figure. Let's go! So people, here's something I want to go ahead and state right off the bat. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best NECA alien figures that we have seen in years. Ultimately, just looking at this action figure, I'm just blown away by it. So that's one thing I just want to get out of the way. There's going to be a lot of praise for this figure, and I'm going to go ahead and break it down, everything that you need to know about this action figure before you go ahead and purchase it yourself. Let's go ahead and talk about the box though. So you want to hear some irony? I'll go ahead and tell you this. As much as I praise the actual action figure right off the bat, I'm not too big on the packaging, at least the front really though. I feel like I wish they had done, say, that flat packaging where you open it up and you see the window. I'm a big fan of that because of the fact that I love how it's uniformed, and plus you can display those just really nice wherever you want to, and I just like the idea of reflecting the poster that the movie is supposed to be after. Yeah, I feel like they should have done that, but they did not. On one side you have a picture of the Scorched Xenomorph, opposing side you have yet another photo, and on the back we have 3 more promotional images of the Scorched Xenomorph and a little read-up. And on the very top, Alien Romulus, extremely simple, with the blood dripping. So a little disclaimer I want to go ahead and say right off the bat. I'm not going to spoil any context about anything in this movie. I actively want people to go ahead and watch this movie. It's supposed to be streaming soon, and it's going to be getting a VHS and Blu-ray 4K release. But overall, though, whether you end up loving this movie or hating it in general, I just want you to go ahead and watch it. So I'm not here to talk about the movie, but the actual action figure. Now this character right here, the Scorched Xenomorph, it makes the return to a lot of elements that have been lost in lots of alien movies since then. For example, this one has more of the sexual overtones, and obviously you can tell on the head right there. Now, obviously the aliens have always had the iconic elongated head, but this one right here, I think you know what it looks like more so. We have these nice airbrushed black stripes on this clear translucent dome. And finally, for the first time in years, we see the return of the skull underneath the dome, which technically was seen in Alien vs. Predator Requiem with the Predalien. However, the overall for the Xenomorphs, we have not seen this exactly. Just look at the shoulders right there. Really detailed. Just all that texture going on about right there. The arms. And then on the back, we have the dorsal tubes also. And the return of that 5th little spine right there, which has been absent since the second Alien movie. Just kind of disappeared when they removed it from the runner or dog alien, whatever you want to call it, ox alien from Alien 3, and then just never returned. It wasn't even on the Covenant design, I don't believe. But the Scorched Xenomorph overall, it's a design. What we have here, everything is just so magically captured, and NECA has done it so well. One thing I do want to go ahead and point out also is we do have these translucent tubes and just kind of translucent plastic throughout, as you can tell on the hands and even parts of the legs as well. This right here is reminiscent of the Movie Maniacs Xenomorph, which was released way back. I think McFarlane Toys did that one way back in the day, and I always thought that was truly and really unique. To see that be used right here was great because I don't think NECA's taken advantage of the translucent plastic for Xenomorphs in a combination with the regular plastic. But throughout this one right here, as you can tell, it's just there. Just look at it. You can find it within the hands, the chest, the tubes, the head. It's just a little bit of everywhere, and it looks just extremely unique. Not to mention, throughout, this isn't exactly like a jet black Xenomorph, because it does have some of that really dark blue right over the blacks. And of course, some of the browns that we have throughout the action figure. Lots of unique paint apps on this action figure. So it does have that look where it has that, say, big chat feel to it, but overall, though, there are certain aspects that kind of make me think of the combination from the more recent Xenomorphs. Another little decent change right here also on this right here that is captured is we have the extra little toe claw, which was something that I wasn't even aware of in the actual movie when I was watching this. Of course, I don't think there's any actual good shots that show that. However, though, I like the fact that some of those little details, they're obscure that we don't really see in the movie. It's all captured. I also do want to go ahead and see how true this is overall, though. I believe it is true, personally myself, to what we see on screen. I know that when Covenant came out, their NECA figures had the issue of the practical suits and designs were different than what we actually got for the NECA figures, because eventually they went back and CGI'd out certain aspects, which I was not a fan of. Right here, I don't believe that was done at all, and I feel like everything that we saw in the suits does appear in the actual movie. And one of the big pushes about Alien Romulus was the practical effects. Back to the action figure, and look at the abs right here. You got this weird little tube right here, 3 of them going on up. And there's one thing that I really like about this right here, I'm going to go ahead and touch on, because we're not quite ready to talk about articulation, but I love the fact this is not exactly connected to the lower part of the chest at all right there. So you can go ahead and move this around freely without breaking any of these 3. I'd just be careful, just make sure you're not applying too much pressure on those. It's really unique, really interesting. I think overall the design on this, like there's just little things that I was not capturing right off the bat, and I feel like this is something else. Now, of course, we have the mark. I'll just go ahead and say that about that right there. Now, this mark, the Scorched mark right here, and this dome can actually come off, and we'll talk about that more once we get to the accessories. Take a look inside the mouth, and we have that inner jaw. Fantastic figure. Honestly, like, this tail too right here. I believe this is one of the longest tails that NECA has done in years. We're getting a great action figure for what we're paying right here, $40, and there's much more I'm going to cover in a moment. But first we got to talk about the articulation. So let's speed through the articulation and talk about this. The head, back and forth, side to side, great rotation, very fluent. It doesn't exactly have much interference with this back spine back there. You can't take that spine off, I'll go ahead and say that. The ultimate James Cameron Aliens, you could do that, but this one right here, you are not allowed to do that. It's unfortunately just sculpted into the very back of the action figure. Go down to the mouth, obviously this opens, and we got some range. Look at that, all the way down. It's still going. Yeah, so that's as far as we can get that. Now this tongue, it's a little bit pushed up on mine right here, but it doesn't fight me a whole lot. It's not like what I remember from the Alien Covenant one, where that one fought me a lot, but this one right here, again, more range. Again, this is probably some of the most range I've seen for a tongue since the Alien Covenant design, and just hides right back in there, no problem. And when you pop the mouth open, I'm not seeing that tongue fall on out easily like I've seen with past Xenomorphs. So, great quality right there. As for the arms, does seem to get a little slower right here, because all the way around, no restriction. It'll be the same, obviously, for this one right here. And then we have double jointed elbows. Now, I am seeing a little bit of fight right here. Keep in mind that I just opened this action figure, so I'm going ahead and reviewing it from getting it out of the packaging. I'm going to need to work on this upper joint right here. So keep that in mind when you do open the action figure. The wrist spins all the way around, up and down. Not bad exactly. Then after that, I did show you the waist earlier, and it just rocks back and forth, up and down. Next, let's go to the legs. I am seeing and feeling some fight right here. This is a little stubborn right there, so I'll keep that in mind. Does go out a little bit back and forth. Ironically, I feel like it's always a standard for NECA action figures that we always have double jointed knees. This one actually lacks that, unfortunately. Move on down to the feet. We got some rotation. And then finally, just a little bit of articulation right here, but not a whole lot. Finally, we finish this off with the bendy wire tail, which is extremely thick, by the way. I do want to go ahead and say that. It seems to be alright, this one. No problems with it. So we're going to switch gears over to the accessories. One of the first things I want to point out is we have an actual stand. Now, obviously, you guys have seen this in review. Yes, this one actually does come with the action figure, which is really handy. And as you saw in the intro, it's simple. You just go ahead and just plug it on in. You have a little rotation on the top. Sit her on down. Take the action figure, slap it on top. Nice and simple. It's nothing complex like you'd see with SH Monster Arts. But the fact it's there is extremely important because NECA does not seem to want to put these in with the Alien figures, and it's taken them about a decade to finally make them a standard. We've seen them with the Runner Alien, we've seen them with the Newborn, and we've seen it with the Spitter Alien as well. But right here, it should be the norm going forward for Aliens, and that's what I expect. Next accessory is we have a facehugger. Now, if you've seen the accessory pack, this is the exact same one that's featured in that one. However, I'll go ahead and say for me personally, one of the legs is a little messed up, so it's obviously the other one, which is better. But overall, though, it's the exact same paint apps in the exact same mold. We also have the exact same chest burster included. Now, if you've seen my review of the previous one with the accessory pack, you'll note that I mentioned that one had some issues with the bendy wire sticking at the tail. This one, this is remedied right here. You have that nice little metallic teeth right there as well. Overall, though, the exact same that we saw with the accessory pack. For the first time ever in the Alien line, we have something new. We have swappable, replaceable hands. Now, if you're going to pay this much money, then I anticipate a few accessories. This is one thing I criticized the Fireteam Elite figures for, that did not have any swappable hands, no accessories, no nothing. And the final accessory, a nice clean dome. And I'll go ahead and show you how to put this on. Premises of this is pretty simple. Basically, all you do is just get a nice grip on the sides, pull up, and the first time you take it off, it's going to be a little bit of a fight, but not much exactly. Then you just take the other one and just slide it right on in. Now, I will go ahead and say this. I probably would have preferred that this entire dome could have came off. Say, like McFarlane Toys had done, or even the Gorilla Alien, which was released by NECA years ago, because I'd love to see the underneath of this head just entirely underneath the dome. But unfortunately, this part, I mean, you could take off, but it's going to require to break the glue a little bit because it's kind of glued to the actual mold. But you just go ahead and you slap this on in here, and let's see if we get this to cooperate, because this is kind of awkward because I'm watching this through the camera. It should be able to slide into these two holes. One thing they did better than McFarlane Toys is there is not like a simple just hole at the top of the head, because that's what McFarlane Toys did years ago for their Xenomorph that was similar to this. But that's how that works. You have a nice clear dome all patched up. And of course, it's just nice that we have this extra piece so we don't have to pay for two different action figures, one that's selling it with the Scorched mark and one that's clean. And so let's begin the size comparison. We have Ellen Ripley from Aliens, the ultimate big chap, the ultimate jungle hunter from the original Predator, the feral predator from Prey, the suited space engineer from Prometheus, and finally the spitter alien from Aliens Fireteam Elite. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is one of the greatest Xenomorph figures that NECA has brought us in years. I talked about in my previous Alien reviews with the Fireteam Elite line that I was unsatisfied with the scale, lack of accessories. This one basically goes ahead and clears all of that up. Now, of course, I have higher expectations for Xenomorphs from movies, and this one nailed it. I was surprised by the fact that it had additional hands that you could swap in and out with, and of course, with that swappable head. I feel like for the $40 and the price and the articulation, everything that's included in the box, that this is definitely worth it. And I do anticipate that NECA probably will reuse this mold in the near future, possibly at San Diego Comic-Con. Don't take that as a promise. I'm just saying, based off their history, I have a hard time believing that this mold is going to be one and done. And I am anticipating more Alien Romulus figures and accessories down the line as well. That's just me. Hopefully next year, we will also get Alien Earth action figures, because obviously we have that. And NECA seems to be committed to the line. Yes, I know there is a lot of jokes between the turtles that have been coming on out and everything else they've been doing. However, they seem to be committed towards keeping this line alive. And I do anticipate lots next year from the new TV series that will be going to Hulu, Alien Earth. Like, subscribe, and let me know, are you going to buy this action figure? Leave any thoughts in the comment section. You guys have a great day.